Who is the Bagman? How is the Bagman? Why is the Bagman? These are all very valid questions that we never get an answer to, because The Bagman is one of the films of all time. It, in theory, is the spiritual successor to Slender Man and Bye Bye Man, where of course we don't get any answers and nothing's ever resolved and there's not really even any scary parts. Hello and welcome to another bad movie review. Today we are talking about Bagman. Now, Bagman is about this guy, and I don't know who this guy is. We're going to call him Trevor, even though his name isn't Trevor. But Trevor over here has a little bit of a Bagman phobia, just like, you and I do. Particularly because in the most effective scene of the movie, the beginning of the film, he watches his dad get turned into a little bit of a pretzel. He plays a little bit of a game of Twister with the Bagman, and that's, fair to say it's traumatizing. And that is kind of where the movie dips after that, because that scene and the credits are okay. They are not bad, but it is gruesome, it is shocking, and I'm like, okay, maybe all the exposition is out of the way. Nope. So right off the bat, this movie loves exposition. There's not a wasted word, which in some ways is like, yeah, that's great, you're writing your script good, but at the other times, you're listening to characters be like, do you remember that time you were really scared when this happened? And it's like, oh, got it. Okay, thanks. Then we have the main setup of the film, which is Trevor wants to protect his son because, you see, he has previous Bagman phobia, previous Bagman trauma, and he doesn't want his son to inherit this same Bagman trauma. Also, when he goes to the psychiatrist, counselor, whatever she is, she introduces him as a potential sackman, and I feel like the Bagman name could not be any worse, but here it is, the sackman, the titular sackman. So another thing the sackman does is rob a house, but he doesn't rob a house. So he goes to Trevor's home, and he goes into the home, and he leaves like a little wood carving owl. So hang on. Let me back up. Okay. So Trevor is like spooked because he wakes up in the middle of the night to some weird sounds. And he's at the window and he's like, oh my God, there's somebody messing with my mind. It's like they're playing this sound just to screw with my mind. And I finally found what the sound is. It's like a zipper zipping and unzipping. And then he runs out into the woods with a baseball bat and is like, come at me, I'm gonna get you, oh my God. And then it hard cuts to the next scene where the detectives are there because the wife called like the police and she was like, hello, there's a robbery or something. And then so they come and the head cop is like suspicious about the Bagman. He's like, if something ever comes up, you're gonna call me, right? But then at the same time, he's talking about how like, you should mow your grass because these robbers saw that your grass was unmowed and thought it was an opportunity attack. And then at the end, he's like, hey, buddy, you should mow your grass. And so, hey, get out there and mow your fucking grass. Don't worry about the Bagman. The sackman. Meanwhile, the sackman, the night before, as Trevor was looking off into the woods with a baseball bat, there's this ominous sound of a zipper. Zip, 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 zip. It's the sackman. And then I don't know why this is the common theme between the two movies that I've done, but I love how negligent these parents are. Anytime something spooky happens, they just like walk away. They're just like, whatever, we're gonna leave Jake here. Who gives a shit? And I just love how the two different films, both Shunny B and here, that's been the common theme tying it together. It's just child abandonment. But anyway, so while the cop is there, one of my favorite scenes is the cop is on top of the roof and he sees all these little carvings, and our main character did these carvings, but we're going to get to that in a second. And he just picks up one of the carvings and throws it out the window and he's like, I bet you the robbers were doing this. And it's like, what the fuck are you doing, you idiot? But anyway, so those little carvings are important, and they're important because that's what keeps the Bagman, the sackman away. Why? Okay, so Trevor has a knife and he carves items. And when he was a young boy, he carved an owl with his brother. And as him and his brother were walking to an ominous mine shaft, and then standing at the front of the ominous mine shaft, they're looking at it and being like, "You go do it, you pussy." And the other one's like, "No, you go do it, you pussy." And then they both decide, "No, we're not going to do it." But then little boy, Trevor, our main character, sees a tree. And he really likes this tree because this tree has the right soft wood, because Grandpa told him about the wood. Grandpa tells me about my wood. And then he's like, okay, I gotta go get this wood. So he goes up and he starts like cutting the wood, and his like back is turned to the ominous mine shaft. And then we have that like zoom in shot of the ominous mine shaft, and you think, oh no, the Bagman's gonna get him. And then the sackman has a pair of scissors, and he walks up behind the kid and he takes a clump of his hair off, and that's it. That's it. The kid falls down and he's like, oh my God, the sackman just got me. And the sackman is like, I got a piece of your hair. Never let the sackman have a piece of your hair. Who knows what the hell's gonna happen once he gets one of those. He'd been waiting around for years just to get a piece of hair. And look what we did. We were foolish enough to give him a piece of hair. So that wood carving thing is stupid as hell. And why it's stupid as hell is because it's like a plot device, I guess. So in the titular break-in scene that I keep going back to, there's actually not anything stolen. And that's the other thing. The cop is like, I need you to meticulously go through and find in detail everything that you have. I'm like, are we even sure there's anybody like doing anything here? But no, we do learn the sackman has been in the home, and instead of robbing something, he's taken the wooden owl that was from a long time ago and he placed it at the bottom of the trash bin. And so when our main character is emptying the trash, he hears clunk and he's like, a clunk. Oh my God. So he starts digging around in the trash, which, by the way, that's what I do every time I hear a clunk in my trash. That's why I got all this shit around me. But anyway, who cares? So the sackman put the owl in the trash can to lure and to bait man into ... So then some boring scenes happen. Okay, and then this is the titular moment. This is the big sackman. This is the climax of it all. So the sackman, takes the little kid, but he doesn't take the little kid because it's a big misdirection. You see, the sackman comes in and he puts the little kid in the bag, but he doesn't put the little kid in the bag. You see, and then he's like, as he's running away, he's looking at Trevor. So the bagman's looking back and he's like, ha, I got your son, Trevor. Look at me, I'm gonna zip my bag again. And we, the audience, are supposed to be like, oh my God, no, little Jamie's in the bag. What is the bagman gonna do? I thought he just wanted little Jamie's hair. But then Trevor chases the bagman because this time it's personal. So then Trevor goes and he fights the bagman, and he has the little kid's like flute and he sticks it in the bagman's eye, and he's like, give me my son back, bagman. And then it's revealed that the bagman doesn't have the son. The son was in the carriage, the bassinet, the helicopter, whatever it is, the whole time. And it's like, you idiot! You didn't even check the bassinet. You didn't even check the stupid thing. Well, I guess that's kind of the end, because he dies alongside the bagman as our main man Trevor has his flute, and I haven't talked about the flute, but he takes the flute and he like stabs into the bagman's eye, and then we cut because the father dies and it's sad and I'm tearing up. And the little kid has the flute back, and he's playing the flute. And I'm like, kid, maybe don't put that in your mouth. And number two, shut the hell up, kid. That flute's really annoying. Also, what is the end of this? Because we have to give up physical items that are the point. So the point of this movie is that physical items protect us from the sackman, but then we have to learn when we give up the physical items, because the sackman needs to get us. I don't know what the point of this movie is. I don't know what the theme of this movie is. Well, I know what the theme of this movie is. It's a manufactured film for profit that is going to make more than it was made for. So yeah. Okay, so to end this, I don't know what to do because nothing gets concluded, nothing gets answered. At least in the Bye Bye Man, when we like knew of the lore, quote unquote, like for instance, I remember it being coins and trains. When you heard a coin or you heard a train, that's when you knew the Bye Bye Man was coming. And here in the Sackman makes light flicker a little bit, which is like, uh-oh, you're going to be overexposed like me, and that is the scariest thing I've ever seen in my life. So besides that, I don't really know what to be scared of in the Sackman. I mean, I guess he's got a little bit of a foot fetish, but so does Tarantino. So, you know, I don't really know beef over there. So I think that... So that is the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching. If you had fun, leave a comment. If I went too quick, if I'm too ADD, let me know, leave a comment. Besides that, check out my new horror novel that's coming out on the end of October. Besides that, thank you very much for watching. You're the best. Don't forget to like, comment, and sub. See ya.